Okay, it's September 13th or 14th on 2013, and this is a tour of some of the once blooming hardy roses. Not all once blooming. A lot of these were given to me by Margit Showalter, but also David Zlezak and Julie Overham and Rob from New Jersey. So many people were so generous with me, and I thought you might be interested in seeing how they're doing, some of these roses. So this is Yatkan, which is a rugosa, Canadian rugosa hybrid, and has some nice hips. If anybody wants some hips, it's a kind of a medium lilac pink, and essentially once blooming. Alika, the hardy Gallica type, Alika, and lots of hips on that too. Again, if anyone wants some open pollinated seed, I should be able to share from that. Suzanne, doing fine. Dark colored hips set on that one. Gotta check the tag on this guy. Seager Wheeler, another once blooming Canadian Spinosissima hybrid. I really thought it was attractive when it was in bloom. This has such lush green foliage. It's another rugosa hybrid coming out of South Dakota. I can't remember, Hanson, I think. Tetonkaha. So far looking extremely healthy. I've harvested most of the hips that were on this. There's a few way down in there. This guy's suckering out a little bit. Another Spinosissima. Let's see. Yellow Altai. This is something like Prairie Youth, I believe. This is Ross Rambler number 4. So, growing next to the original Ross Rambler. And so all these numbered Ross Ramblers were open pollinated seedlings of the original one. And looks like they've been crossed with some Spinosissima type roses. This original one, and what is it? Rosa laxa? Ross Rambler was basically a found selection of Rosa laxa, I believe. And what interested me about this one is that just a week or two ago, it had blossoms on it. And so I would almost consider this a true rebloomer. And that makes it interesting to me in terms of working with it to cross with modern rebloomers and seeing if that reblooming characteristic can be preserved in the first generation. As you can see, it's definitely sending up some suckers. And the black spot, it had some weird things going on with the leaves that isn't as apparent now. So I don't know how black spot resistant it's going to be, but I really want to try and use that since the original one was hardy 20 feet in the air back in Saskatchewan. It also has kind of a blue-green foliage, so you could combine it with Tetonkaha or one of these other blue-green species. Another Spinosissima hybrid. Beauty of Leafland. And this guy's somewhat awkward looking. Who is he? Prairie Youth. I believe this is a Hazeldean. No, Kilwinning. Another yellow, what was it? It was the same cross as Hazeldean, and which was Persian yellow pollen on, shoot, I can't remember. This is Paul Olson's Keewatin rugosa that's descended from Henry Hudson. Very much a non-stop bloomer. I tried many pollinations on this, and basically none of them took, but there were some open pollinated hips. Not a lot, so I'm hoping that it is self-incompatible, and therefore that the open pollinated hips would contain seeds that are crosses. Another possible source of full hardiness and full rebloom together in the same plant. This one then must be Hazeldean. Yep, that's doing fine. Beggeriana. That thing I got to back up a little bit. Now this was a clump, a pot full of little seedlings that David Z gave me. So it's not all the same plant in there. It has started to lose some foliage down on the inside here for whatever reason. Maybe that's just a normal fall thing. But it's got fairly ferny foliage. Now I see this one here has some larger leaves to it. And tiny little hips. I've harvested most of them, but they look like that. And I did quite a few crosses with that too. It should be hardy. I didn't know what this one was for a while, and we finally determined that it was Caroyal, the Robert Erskine hybrid rugosa Caroyal, and it set tons of hips. I've already collected a whole bunch of them, and they look kind of like that. It's a dark purple, once blooming rugosa type, and it actually sent up this sucker right here, a good 4 feet away from the plant. This is Rosa blanda that I ordered from, I can't remember where. Not thornless as it might be described in some places. This is David Zlezak's tetraploid setigera, Rosa setigera, and it's taking a little more time to build up than the other roses here, and it hasn't bloomed yet. This from Betsy Vanderhoek, a thornless buck multiflora rootstock. Kind of frightens me. Yeah, and so I always give it a wide berth when I walk around it, even though it's thornless. Now, following here, we've got some species roses that I originally ordered from Lawyer Nurseries in Montana. And first it starts out with 5 Rosa virginiana, and very interestingly, this year most of these Rosa virginianas, although they're pulling out of it now, got some mildew, whereas the Carolinas down the row did not, and they're very similar in appearance to some degree to these virginianas. So a lovely plant, thick glossy foliage, lovely hips to it. I'm very interested in working more with these virginianas, but like I said, because of the mildew that they experienced, I thought, why not work instead with Rosa Carolina? And a good deal of variation among these 5 plants. They're growing together, but the first plant is shorter, the second plant much taller. The third plant looked a lot like virginianas with the extremely glossy foliage. It was later to bloom. I really pollinated it heavily, and quite a few hips. I pollinated opened blossoms after the bees had already started their activity for the morning, so there's every chance of a lot of, if not self-pollinations, open pollinations from the other Carolinas nearby. And but anyways, very healthy and not too many thorns, for instance, on this one. So I thought, yeah, if you had a whole bunch of hips of this and just started hundreds of them in a seedling flat and then sorted through the seedlings and found the ones that appeared to have fewer thorns, I think in a few generations you could come up with a Rosa Carolina that had very few, if no, thorns. I better hurry up here. Next, Rosa arkansana, much smaller. I have read that they spend their time making in their first couple years, making a very deep root system. So maybe that's what they're doing. For some reason, I'm just not gravitating towards that. Rosa acicularis. And of course, it would be fun to do a ploidy test on this because acicularis has many different, has been shown to have many different ploides, tetraploid, hexaploid, etc. And then Rosa nitida. These are perhaps the least disease-resistant of these species roses in this area. Quite a bit of foliage drop, as you can see right in here on that one. There's they have a very nice fragrance, and they seem to be very hardy. So anyways, I better wrap this video up. Maybe we'll cover some of the other roses on the way back.